How are we already in April? I don't get it. This is crazy. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite sisters, spiritual sisters. Nichole here.
Space-time continuum, like everything. I don't know. It's just like a weird time warp, wouldn't you say, Nichole?
Yeah. Time is not real, right? Time is an illusion.
That's what they say, but I don't know. Hi guys, it's Gabrielle Celeste, the younger sister, born on June 22nd, the one half of the Spiritual Sisters duo. And we are super excited for this episode. I feel like you guys are really going to just vibe off of our friends from other countries and their accents to us in the US. So today we have our friend Elisa Grace here. Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you.
Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, everyone's going to love it. I feel like I could listen to you speak all day, honestly, just because, accents.
Same. I wish I knew Australia geography better. Where's Melbourne?
It's down south, so right at the bottom. So there's, Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just below.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll come over one day soon. Visit all my girls over there.
All the Californian ladies. Okay, wait. So are Southern Australians considered to be a different vibe than Northern Australians? Because over here, I'm ignorant. I don't know, how it works. But.
I feel like every state, we all have we have a twang in our accents. So you can kind of pick that up, but. Yeah, everywhere's a bit different. You could tell who's from where.
So, Elisa, we like to ask each one of our guests what their big three are and what their human design makeup is, alongside a couple of other questions. So,
she can't remember.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
doing it every episode since January.
Nichole,
I don't think she listens to our episodes.
I do.
To her own episodes.
I do.
I don't listen.
I went deep and I even looked up the house.
Oh.
Because I've got a stellium. I've got a stellium in Scorpio, all in the 6th house.
Oh, okay.
So I've got my sun and my moon in Scorpio and my Pluto and Venus.
Wow.
So, yes. Very watery, very Scorpio. And then my human design, I'm an emotional projector, 1-3.
Oh.
So, do you know what they are?
The emotional projector, the 1-3, not so familiar with. What about you,
so
Nichole?
Someone else was a 1-3 recently.
So the 1-3 is all about like knowledge, investigator, wanting to just delve right into all of that. And then the 3 is like trial and error, experimentation. So there you go. Some more fun facts there.
Yeah. So, okay, you said your sun and moon were in Scorpio, and then your sun.
Sorry. My rising is Gemini.
That's fun.
Is it? I think it's the Gemini that trips me up in life. That's okay. Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Nichole, the other questions?
If you could do one of your signature offerings for anybody in the world, living, no longer living, anybody, who would it be?
Because she just popped into my head, it'll be Nikki Novo.
Oh. I feel like she'd be down.
Yeah, I feel like she's gonna listen to this. Let's put that out there.
A little manifestation. I was listening to her this morning and I'm like, fuck, she's amazing. Oh, sorry, I swore.
Oh, no, that's all we do on here. You're good.
Okay, great. She's just so great. And I think meeting her after our training, I think that would just be even a double whammy. So to read and to meet her would be awesome.
We've met her because we're lucky that we live in the States.
I know.
And she's great in person too. Yeah.
I see Gabby always at her, doing things with her and the girls. I'm always very jealous.
Yeah, I mean, there's like an LA crew a set of girls, so it's like a little bit more accessible for all of us to get together. But it's funny, we have to like plan things out. Like the last time I think we all got together was in December, but it's like we have to plan it out because otherwise it's just not going to happen with everyone's schedules these days, building out businesses and stuff. So it's really nice to have that
community. Yes, when I fly over, that's the crew that I want to catch up with and finally meet and like hug.
Yeah,
make it real.
Sure.
So I think I know your answer to the next question because you just spoke to it. But what are some of your go-to podcasts? And you just talked about Nikki's.
I do love Nikki's, especially she's doing the business series as well.
Yeah.
Love that. Super helpful. I love the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Good answer. This isn't a trick question either.
It is. I'm binging the Know Thyself podcast.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
His name's Andre, and he just interviews really cool people, all very spiritual, very connected, very magical beings. So he goes deep, like really deep, and it's very, very interesting. And the Robert Edward Grant podcast too. Have you heard of him?
Never heard of him.
You guys would love him. I'll send them to you. Yeah.
We'll have to add it to the queue. Add it
to the queue. Yeah. Add it to the library. Subscribe.
I can't add anymore. I have like 40 some podcasts. I can't. I can barely keep up. It's too many.
Same.
Okay. And then final fun question. If you could go to any concerts of anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
Guys, is this a new question?
No. Just, new since January.
Okay. I'm obsessed with Sade.
Oh,
Sade. Yeah, she's just my muse. I feel her so much. She's my woman, so I'd love to, stay with her.
This is one of my favorite questions because the answers that we get are always so random and varied that it's really so cool. Yeah, it's always something that you like don't expect. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are we talking about today, ladies?
Oh, Lisa, take it away.
Well, I know I've been brought on to chat about Psych-K, which is a modality that I have learnt, but it has kind of come through. I might take it a step back, where I learned something called, I'm a consciousness coach, so I do consciousness coaching. It's a more spirit, soul-based, focused work that I do and I take women through. And I love it. It's so beautiful. It brings in all the modalities, all the learnings and teachings and knowings that I guess that I have journeyed through and all these beautiful practices that it comes with it. And then I was just finding that you have these tools, you're looking at it from a conscious level, but it's the subconscious that I knew that we had to go deep into. And at the time I was doing Lacey Phillips' work. So all that subconscious reprogramming, all her hypnosis work, which I loved. She took you through the inner child, the shadow work, which is what I do in consciousness coaching as well. But I wanted something else. So I was actually listening to the Jenna Zoe podcast, and she mentioned Psych-K. And maybe it wasn't even a podcast, but she was talking, and I'm like, my ears sprooked up, and I was like, what is this? What is this? What is she talking about? And I went deep into it, and then found Psych-K, which is a subconscious reprogramming modality. So
when you hear the word, when I heard it, I thought it was a drug.
Yeah. I know.
Right? It's because I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Like, what is that?
So
I still don't quite know what it is.
So psych is it's referred to as psyche, I guess. So mixing in the mind, body, spirit. Yes, mind, body, spirit, and then K is like the key to change, the key to success, in a sense. So, and really, it's a spiritual energy modality as well. It's very spiritual. Like, I can really speak about it from a scientific base, a background, but the originator, Rob, he had this downloaded to him. He had this channeled through to him, these processes and balances, and his lens of life is beautiful. So yeah, there's the scientific that you can go down, and do you ladies know Dr. Bruce Lipton? Have you heard of him? Mm-hmm. Yes. So the biology of belief is his book, and people love that. And he speaks about how you can change your cells through your environment. So it's not like, so you're not locked in and born with, being, your DNA, your makeup. You can actually change that, and that's through the science of epigenetics. So a lot of people find Psych-K through Dr. Bruce Lipton, because the vehicle in changing your beliefs is through, one modality is through Psych-K. And so Dr. Bruce Lipton and Rob are best friends. So whenever they lecture and teach, they come together, because Bruce is there for the science, for those who need it, and then Rob is there to speak about the process.
I have the biology of belief on my nightstand, along with a bunch of other books that
Me too.
I'm always so ambitious to read, and then they sit there forever.
Yeah,
manage on life.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the science? Because I am really interested in the science and obviously the spiritual component of it.
Yeah.
And shout out to our girl Kelly from All Things Outrageously Dark, Scary, Beautiful, and Totally True, because she just got her level 1, or I don't know if you guys do levels. I forgot how it is, but she just did training in it a couple weeks ago.
In Psych-K?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Love it. I love when I hear that. That's
she
awesome.
said she is obsessed with it. She really, really loves it.
Yes, you do, because it's the feeling. We can go into it because you both experience it too, but the feeling is just, it's beautiful. So, but with the science part of it, so what is happening in a balance is that we're bringing you into a whole brain state. So what that means is that you have your right hemisphere and left hemisphere, and we want them to become neutral, to talk to each other, so that, because when that happens, it creates a supportive environment for belief change. So I'll kind of take it back a little bit in saying that when you have a belief, a limiting belief, say, right, and I know you've spoken about it in a previous podcast, but your beliefs, or your subconscious beliefs, get imprinted when you're in utero, even to when you're 7 years old, and then you kind of, there's like, you have experiences that, say, support that belief, and so that really gets ingrained, right? So what happens, that usually lodges into a particular section of like one hemisphere or so. So it creates a resistance there. So you're not, say, for example, having a fear of public speaking, right? So maybe there was an example, which I did, and I can kind of talk to you about the process that I did in preparation for today. But so my example was, I was at a singing concert when I was 4 years old, and I forgot my words, right? So I was performing on a stage. And so let's say that I want to do something like this, but I have all this stuff, like my body's really reactive and I'm nervous and all of that. So it's, say, this lodged in one part of my brain and I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling in harmony. Like I can do this. So I guess what this process does, it's creating that balance, that harmony. It's taking away that resistance so that there's equal flow between the two hemispheres. Does that make sense?
It does. And I wonder,
in a roundabout way.
Do you know if something like that that instance when you were 4 years old and had that experience, do you know, is there any science that they spoke about as far as which hemisphere, like which side of the brain it gets stuck in? Because I would think that it would maybe get stuck in the emotional part of the brain, but then everything's going to get stuck in the emotional part of the brain. And that just feels like an overload for anybody. So I know with other practices, so like for EMDR, you're doing the same thing. You're trying to get both sides of the brain online, the logical and the emotional at the same time. And I wonder, is everything just stuck in the emotional brain and you're trying to instead bring on the logical?
So glad you asked about that, Nichole, because I was curious about what the difference between that and EMDR would be, because obviously, Elisa, you're trained in Psych-K and Nichole, you're trained in EMDR, but they sound very similar in maybe not approach, but with the end goal, what might be.
They do sound similar. Yeah. That's why I'm like so curious to learn more about it.
It is.
And it's like, maybe I'll just do Psych-K and fuck EMDR.
So I'm so happy to talk to you about that offline as well, because it's an amazing process. But in terms of your question is, do you know which part of the brain it's in?
Yeah, do they talk about that in the training if they're talking about the different hemispheres? Like, are those emotional, scary experiences going to get stuck in the emotional part of the brain? So is that going to get stuck in our left part? No, I don't even remember which side.
Right.
Is that the right?
Yeah, right. But then your right controls your left side.
Yes. Because I'm right-handed. I'm very logical.
Yes.
So left brain. So yeah, in the right side of your brain, the emotional, like, is it all going to go to the right side of the brain?
So I'm not sure of how to answer this question. We don't go into that really. It's like, let's just muscle test, which we can also go into.
That was fascinating.
Yeah, let's like just muscle test a process. So how do I explain that? Yeah, I'll just take it back. So the bottom of the answer is no, you don't know. We don't know. They don't go into that. The goal is to do this in the most fast and effective way. We don't need to know that. There's no relevance to that. Let's move through it. Let's create that whole brain state for you to go in. And I will also mention, right, with the whole brain state, anybody can do anyone can go in a whole brain position. So a whole brain position is crossing your wrists over each other and crossing your ankles over each other. I know, I'm not sure what country it is in Europe, but my teacher was saying that they do that before an exam or at the beginning of the class, just to calm the nervous systems down of the children as well. You can do it to your children too. There's that, like, just go and sit in a whole brain state, because your brain, or before meditation too, because both of your hemispheres come online and it relaxes. So there's a release happening. It makes it more malleable
Interesting. Okay.
I was just thinking about it. My son, he has very long, slender legs, and I'm always looking at him because he looks so cute when he's reading or doing something, because he always crosses his legs and then he crosses his ankles also, like he's in like a yoga pose without realizing it. But he always just looks so content when he has his legs crossed and his ankles crossed.
There you go. He's doing it.
Yeah, without even realizing. So, but it looks so cute because he's all little and he's just like a little old man with his legs crossed.
Little yogini.
Yeah, little yoga pose. So, what are the different levels? There's, because I know you said, I think you did the advanced. I know when Kelly said she did hers, she I think isn't able to do the distance yet. So what are the different levels that there are?
So she would have just done level 1. So there's level 1 where you learn 3 of the basic balances. So there are a variety of balances that we can do, and we choose what balance to do through muscle testing. So, but to quickly answer your question, there's level 1, then there's advanced, and that is where you learn how to do it in distant session. That's where you just learn bigger balances. So a bigger balance, for example, is a relationship balance that we can do. So which is probably I love that one. It's really long, but it's very transformative. I've had very transformative experiences with that, where you can do relationship balance with your partner, with money, with your business, with God. It's very big. How big you want to go, we can go. And then there's the health and well-being program, which is amazing. That's something that's more depending on how open you are. Yeah, we can do some really cool stuff there. Mm-hmm. Gabrielle?
Oh, I was going to say, well, we've both gone through it, and it was for me one of the craziest experiences because I think I've done it 2 or 3 times with you, but in a session, what can a sitter expect with respect to like you're going into Psych-K? What's like the format? What are you like really working through?
Yes.
And what does that look like? Because I feel like for our audience, this is going to be, a fairly new topic.
Yes.
Because I know I wasn't even, I was like, what the hell is this? Like before I met you girls. So
I thought I was going to do drugs and go on a trip. I was like, what is a Psych-K? Like,
I really want to know. I really want to hear about how you felt after. Okay, so I'm going to take this through with the example that I had before about the singing and being on stage, right? So preparing for this. So you come to me, and what we do is we talk about, or what I was doing, is I talk about the situation that I'm feeling at the moment. So I was feeling nervous. I was feeling, a bit anxious. I just had this sensation in my body, right? I was feeling stressed. So there are options for me to do. I can either do a balance that's called a transforming perception of stress, which I did with both of you, which what that means essentially is I'm just taking stress out of my body over a situation like that I'm thinking about, say, for example, doing this podcast, right? I'm like, I just want to take out the stress, that nervousness, that anxiety. So it's something that you can take stress out of in the past, something that's currently happening that you're experiencing, or something that you're thinking about in the future. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You with me? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing that, right, I was doing that process on myself, that memory came up of being that I was like 7 years old on that stage, forgetting my words, right? And this is where the wormhole happens, right? And I think I maybe spoke to both of you about this. That is clues. Like, this is what you want to listen to. It's like, oh, okay, this rose up. All right, so now what I'm going to go is I'm going to go and transform the stress that I had, thinking about myself as a 7-year-old and how I felt, connecting to that as much as I can, and I'm going to transform, we call it transform the perception of stress. I'm going to sit and let that process until I experience peace and non-attachment, until you experience a shift. And you really do feel this shift. And it's so you're like, okay. So that happened. And then I got then I received a goal statement to balance. So when you come to me or have a session, after we talk about what's your current state and experience, right, that you're experiencing, we always ask, like, how do you want this to be? Like, how do I want to feel coming into doing this recording? Like, I want to feel like in my power. I want to feel so centered and grounded and connected. So what going to do is I'm going to create a short, emotionally meaningful, positive, present tense goal statement. So that can look like, say, like a bit of an affirmation as such. So, and I could say like, I speak from a grounded place. I could speak from a grounded place as an example, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that goal statement and then I'm going to do the Psych-K balance with that. And yes. Go on, continue. Okay. So then how we do that is we ask for safety and permission. So is it safe and appropriate for me to do this balance? So what I'm really tapping into now is my superconscious mind, which we can go into in a second. Superconscious, my conscious, and also my subconscious. So I'm just asking, is this safe and appropriate to go into? If it's strong, then I proceed. Then I ask, what is the best balance for me to do? So, and then I just name all the balances that we have. And so then so through that muscle testing process, I choose the balance gets chosen. And then I go into the balance, which is really just putting myself into a position or doing a few things to that. Doing a balance is helping me get into that whole brain state. And then after that, we lock it in and then we celebrate and then we go into the next one. So then I'll ask, okay, what did you receive any messages, or like what was your experience? And then someone what I experienced was these words came through, this other goal statement came through, or I got a memory about my exams that I did in year 12. And so yeah, it kind of just leads you through because it's a whole wormhole.
So it's almost kind of like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you have an idea already of like what your limiting beliefs are. So like you've done a little bit of the work per se. And I guess I'm just trying to gauge like what would be, if I'm like in the process of doing healing and I'm doing the work, as we say, or doing all the things. It's like I have an idea of what my limiting beliefs are. It's almost like going into Psych-K sessions, you can almost quickly reprogram your subconscious as opposed to like maybe having to like journal and, go into meditation to figure out what that limiting belief could, or the block could be.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there's like many different ways to look at it. Sometimes you may not know like what it is that you need to reprogram, but your superconscious does. So, or as I did with you guys, it will guide me through to the perfect goal statement that I need for myself. So, and that's what I did in when I was doing my practice. It guided me into a book that I have, and there was a statement that is, I speak with clarity, or something along the lines of that. But sorry, getting back to more specifically to your question, is that, coming in with more of, an idea of what it is that you're working through at the moment. So you're doing healing work. Okay, so what are you doing healing work in at the moment? Like, what are you feeling into? It's so great to still do the journaling and all of that because you're bringing it up. You're bringing it up to your conscious mind and you're ready to release, right? And that's, say, if you take a bigger step out, that's what happens when life happens to us, right? And we're like, oh, what is this continuing to happen? Why is this same experience? Why am I experiencing this same thing or this same block? It's like, what is going on? So, all right, let's talk about this situation. And just from that in itself, that's where we can lead. Well, that's what naturally will happen, right? You're so guided in this process of what are you ready to release, transform, and let go of to create more of a supportive, harmonious belief and also life.
So I wonder, Because you're saying how with this, you can reprogram your subconscious quicker than doing the journaling or all those things. Is there any thought or any controversy or just differing opinions that it's quote unquote spiritual bypassing because you're not doing the work and you're just going straight into, I'm trying to fix this? Because that's a word that I feel like I hear, or like a term I hear a lot, spiritual bypassing, and you can't do that. Or is that addressed in the training, how it isn't that? Or have you?
My view on that is that we're still receiving, like if you are coming to me and something is coming up, right, let's look at what is the message for you. Like I think I know through this process you receive what it is that if you're meant to receive that message, it will happen, it will arrive. Like you will get that insight. So that even when I ask, like, how was your experience, it's really this innate feeling of like, it can be conscious of, you're like, okay, my lesson here is I'm feeling this sense of like empowerment for myself. But then sometimes you might not need to know, and you're not bypassing it because you're going still through it, and you're showing up as this new kind of state of being, I don't want to say this new person, but you're seeing something from a different lens. So, I don't see this as spiritual bypassing. I see this work as something that's actually going into it. And as much as you're conscious about it or you're not conscious about it, you will always receive what you need to receive.
Yeah, and I don't think it is either, but I could anticipate that people might say that because I just hear that so much with, and then if you don't do this and you're just bypassing, and it's like, well, are they really? I don't know. I have different thoughts.
I know if this is coming up for you, and say a situation of whatever it is that's coming, like you're not bypassing it. Like you want to see it, you want to go through it, you want to heal it. Even, say in one of the processes, or all of the processes, you need to connect into it. So I want to hold the space for you to connect into that experience that you've experienced, where you're feeling stressed or something is coming or something's happening for you, and let's move through that. Let's clear it together, and then see how you feel. What is your perspective then? Because what we're doing is we're really clearing this. We're changing this belief into something supportive, so that your perception is also changing. You're seeing life, you're seeing this situation or what it is from a new lens, and that is where you receive some wisdom. You'll receive a gift from that. You'll see this from a different lens because you don't have that resistance anymore. That's in my experience. Yeah.
Have people ever said, sorry, Gabs, ever said that they still experience it even after and then they have to come back and almost redo it? Because I kind of wonder for those really stubborn ones that have been there forever, since childhood, since age 7, that you can't probably completely clear it in one session. Maybe you can clear 30% of it and then you got to hit that extra 70 as time goes, or okay.
Absolutely. But it all depends. It all depends, right, on what is ready to go. But we kind of talk about it, or how I see it is like, we might clear, if we think about ourselves as a stream, right, as a river, and there's a log in the way, right? We're going to clear this log, right? We can do the work, we can get there. So we're getting like the 70, 80% out, and then there might still be some sticks, right, or a rock in the way, and that might come up, right? And we kind of look at that, or we talk about the secondary gain. So have you heard about secondary gain?
No, what is that?
So that's about like why, like what is the resistance here in, so if I was to get the desired goal, right, of say coming on your podcast and speaking, right, what am I actually afraid of that's like kind of in the back door that I'm still holding on to, that I'm scared of? Like I'm really scared of being seen. I'm really scared of what's my community, what's my family and friends going to think about me talking about this, right? So yeah, you kind of have to look at those other little those other little parts there that can hold you back from also your goal. So we also go into that, and even just stating what they are, what could possibly be those things, and then we look at that, then we work through that as well.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, secondary gain gaps would be if somebody is very depressed, right? So they obviously kind of want to have that depression go away and get lifted because they know that they're going to feel better. But if that happens, then maybe they're going to lose the sympathy that they get from their coworkers, from their family, their friends. That's their secondary gain, is I get extra attention when I'm sad. I get extra love when I'm sad. I'm not expected to do as much when I'm sad. Like that's that secondary gain piece.
Is that an official term that you've learned throughout your studies in school, Nichole? Because that sounds like something you'd learn and apply as a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. That makes so much sense. And I just had this thought and question. Well, the comment first, it's like, it's so crazy how these literally ideas that are programmed into your brain kind of like block your chakra system, because I see that in readings where like say solar plexus or the crown or things are blocked, and it's in relation to like experiences they've had in childhood. So it does show up on an energetic level, which I think is very fascinating. But would you say that the superconscious is your higher self, aka your soul?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
It's the universe. It's God,
the universe.
It's spirit. It's everything.
Yeah. So that's also another retreat, say, that's a part of the Psych-K learnings. Yeah. It's not even training, it's free, and you go, it's called the Divine Integration Retreat, and you're doing balances between yourself and your superconscious. So yourself and God. And that's probably, after doing that retreat, I saw the biggest shift in myself. And you don't even know what the shifts are. I would like to say, like, you might have this goal, this desire, but you don't know how, when you transform that one goal, how that influences other parts of your life. And it's more about the change in you. It's your inner world that's being changed. And so you do start to show up differently. You start to even look at things differently. You get these ideas or these thoughts, and it's this domino effect. And really, like, I guess in all the work and the healing work we do, when you start to do that work within yourself, it affects the people around you. It affects consciousness. And that is the bigger part that I love about this, because that's so exciting. It's like, I'm doing this inner work, and I know that this is changing the field. I know this is changing this quantum entanglement, because I'm becoming, I'm feeling more aligned. I'm feeling less like fear or frustration, because when I'm in that consciousness, my vibration is, it's not high. It's not nice, and then that gets gluggy. But if I'm sitting here and I'm doing the work and I'm like, okay, like I'm having this moment, or I'm having this resistance, I want to go into it, and I go into it, and then, it's not about also getting to this level of like a guru. It's just like working through your shit.
Yeah.
Working through your shit. So you're feeling like, I'm feeling harmony. I'm feeling balance. Like I love this stress transformation, because when we're in stress, it shuts off our prefrontal cortex, right? So when I can get all my brain and all myself online and working, like I'm showing up as the best version of myself. And that is, and I know that all of us, like, we are in service right now to help consciousness, right? To help this change that we're going through, because it's so massive, and we can feel that. We can feel all the energy shifts. We can feel things changing, and it's a knowing there, right? So this is, we're not in the age of the guru anymore. We are the gurus. Like, we need to guide others and help others on this way, because everyone's shit is coming up right now. Everything is, that's why it feels dense and heavy, because there's more light coming through, right? So, and it's also shining a light on our stuff. So we're feeling wobbly, but there's other people who don't know what the fuck's going on. Here's my French. And they're like, what? So we're also balancing that out. Like, this is happening on that unconscious level, right? So that's why we feel so much, right? Because people say, we feel the collective, we feel that pulse, right? So we might be purging stuff and going through stuff that might not even be ours, it's collective. So tools like this, the tools that I know that you both have, and people in your community, it's important to take personal responsibility in what you're moving through, in how you're showing up, because that affects you, affects your family, but it affects the community. We want to see a change in the world, more peace, more harmony. It's all about ourselves. It's all about the inner.
I say to my clients, I just, I've had a couple of readings where I had no idea who they were, and it was lovely. And they had found me through the workshop that I had recently done with Nikki Novo. And, there's always themes that come up, and it's like kind of like on repeat, or like circle, where you see like a theme happen for those 2 weeks, and then like a new one shifts, and then like, oh, okay, like maybe there's messages for me or whatever. But I had a sitter, and she was going through like an expansion, like next chapter within her awakening. And I was, relaying, I was like, don't be surprised, because you're really going deep, and you're about to do the healing work for yourself. If you feel and you see that shift within your marriage and amongst your family, whether or not they even know what's going on, because it does happen. And let me tell you, like, probably, I'm not in unionship yet, but I know that like my family's gone through their awakening, and it's really fun to experience, but also like healing sucks. Like, it's not fun. So the more tools you have to assist you, all about it.
100%. And when they land in your lap and when they resonate, that's when you work with that. That's what you go down and do until something else maybe comes along.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I'm not saying like Psych-K is the all, and like everyone get on it, like experience it. I want everyone to experience it, to just feel it and to feel how amazing it is. But there's other beautiful subconscious reprogramming modalities and other modalities in general. This is the one that suits me. It's resonated with me. The originator resonates with me and his mission, and what it gives to others. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a really.
What are some other modalities that someone, if maybe they said, okay, Psych-K is cool, but I don't know if I want to do drugs. So what else could they maybe look into?
I love kinesiology as well. I think kinesiology is, same. It's like very similar, but that's a beautiful experience. I kind of sometimes dangle that to my friends who are a little bit not skeptical, but I feel like it's more well known. I feel like people like that's something, you get a diploma in that. There's like extensive also training in that. What else? I used to do. I just received it. Tapping, so EFT.
Yeah, it's the one I'm looking into.
EFT. EFT kind of started my journey when I was 23, 24. Oh, wow. What else is there? And then like there's also hypnosis. That's another one too. And EMDR. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I haven't tried EMDR. I know Nicole's trained in it to administer. But it sounds like it's another, not quick because it's not bypassing, but it's very direct and efficient. Let's say efficient with timing. So I'd be curious to try that out as well.
I love that feeling. I love EMDR too. I've experienced that, and it's
what would you say? the differences between EMDR and Psych-K, since you've experienced it and you also administer or, facilitate one?
I find Psych-K a lot quicker.
Ooh, yeah, and EMDR can take a really long time.
A lot more. And I've only experienced it twice, but the feeling that I get after is very similar, which is I feel shifted. There's this balance happening in my state. It's a really, it's quite a visceral experience too.
What would you say are some of the positive and negatives, or even like challenges as being an administrator and facilitator of Psych-K?
The challenges is that I'm a facilitator. It's a do with process. It's all in your hands. I'm literally just holding space for you, and it's completely guided by you. So that's really hard when you're like, no, I think you need to be looking here. Like, let's talk about this. Like, I think, you really have to hold your opinions. And what we call it is we need to hold a space of this, an azumatag, which is just, I think, like, to excuse me, but I forget the actual, that character that it is, but it's just somebody who really holds a space, right? I'm here for you. I'm it's a safe space, like, and I'm channeling with you at this moment. So whatever it is that needs to come through and come up, I'm here, I'm holding it, and I'm guided by what the experience is that you're going through. So I need to, so my coaching hat at that time, like when I just do pure Psych-K sessions, it needs to step out the door. That's very hard for me because, and I love to like with what I was saying before with my experience of okay, I was doing the stress transformation. I had this memory come up, and then I went here and there. Like, I love to get on the roll and the flow like that. And when people are so connected and they're like, yep, I got this, that's like we're jamming it out. Like, let's go, because we can get through a lot. And with others, and that's fine, that's just where they're at. And others, it just might take, it might just do one goal statement. And that also goal statement might be just enough, for that particular moment in time for them. And then we can look at something else. But I think the challenge is me, not interfering.
Yeah, I think that'd be hard because I don't do a lot of individual sessions anymore because I don't work with adults. I'm working with kids, and my sessions are 30 minutes, and, we're playing Uno and Go Fish. So my job is very different now.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I think of, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that, it almost trauma, I get re-triggered back to my days of being a therapist. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do therapy with anybody anymore because I think it would be hard even if I'm, doing Psych-K with somebody. Well, it's not therapy, but I think I would find it hard to leave my therapist hat, hung up and not bring that in. And so I get really stuck on, okay, what do I want to learn next? Because I have zero desire right now to do any kind of therapy, period. And anything that even remotely feels like therapy, I'm like, I don't want to do it. I can be super interested in it, but I don't want to touch it because it just feels like that. So I can imagine that it's hard, like you said, to not be a coach in that moment and just focus on the task at hand.
Yes. And you really are just guided by that person's experience and what is needed for them, and just hold them and see them in that space. It is about asking questions and asking the right questions, but yeah, it's fully just up to them. We call it a do with process. Yeah, which is, I love that. That really reminds me to take a step back.
Just curious, what did that training process look like for you? What does that entail? If you don't mind sharing a little bit more about the details, just in case Nichole wants to do it down the road, or I want to do it.
And I'm all about everyone going to learn this because it's it's a little bit of an investment, but like in terms of your life and how this like helps with your family, it's gold. It's golden. So a level 1 training, so they're all in person. There are a few online courses, but they're a little bit different to the proper training. Level 1, it's a 3 or 4 day, all day training where you learn about the history, I guess, of Psych-K, like what is the conscious, superconscious, what is a whole brain state, and you learn the fundamental balances, the protocols. So there's 3 that you learn, and then you are training with other people in the group as well. And then there's ongoing support afterwards too. So that if you have any, like, you always have questions, there's always things that come up. People always experience, like, you always have to, so much shifting and changing that happens throughout just even the first training. So when I did my first training, that was in 2021. I loved it, was obsessed, and then I let it go for a bit. Right? That's what always happens, because I'm like, yeah, great, but I don't know, life just happens. And then found it again, and I'm like, okay, I want to dive deeper. I did the advanced training. Same thing. It's a 4 or 5 day training. And that's the same thing. So just learning about each balances, practicing with each other, and you receive that support. So it continues to go like that. But with the health and well-being, there's only one teacher in the world who does that training. So, so if he comes to you, if it's in your country, that's the time to jump on it, because you just don't know when it's going to come back around. And that's a 5-day training, and that's pretty massive. And it's cool. Like, I'm sure you guys have experienced whenever you do some kind of healing modality, just the energy in the room and like what is arising at the time, it's also shifting and changing for you. Like, I might be doing, a transformation for me, but that's affecting also others in the room too. And there's just this resonance there, and it's very special. But yes, so that's how it kind of looks like.
It's a lot of days.
It's a lot of days.
Very intensive.
Yes. But what you receive out of it is golden.
So I loved my session with you. The most recent one, I wanted to work on just having better balance and literally in my life and not be so controlling, which is an issue.
You don't say.
And so, we're all water signs here. We know what's up.
Yeah. Feel you.
Oh, someone's going to cry.
No, I mean, I'm good. So I thought it was really fun because I could feel as you were administering it. And I don't know if, like, because I have a meditation practice, maybe I can go deeper. I feel like meditation is like, it's always going to be supportive for you to go into, the deeper layers for any type of work that you're doing in this realm. But I could feel like when you were saying the control or like balance, and you were asking if it was,
strong
administering or strong or not. Yeah. That's right. And when it wasn't, and you were like, oh, like, this is like pretty intense. So you had to like, I have to bring out the big guns. And so we went to the super conscious, and it was crazy because I'm in a meditative state. Right. And at least my eyes would close. Yes. At least that's how I remember it.
Yes.
And I literally heard, and the words drop in, like my higher self literally speaking and saying to me, like, it's because you don't want to release control. It's like, because you don't want to slow down. And I was like, oh, but it was really fun. It was fun.
So
to
spot on.
But it's so true. I won't deny it. But it was so cool to like just have that visceral experience and feel that and know that in like your crown chakra throughout your body. So I really enjoyed it. And I felt very safe as well. I think that's also important. Administer, the facilitator, I think it's really important to feel safe with who you're working with for any of this stuff.
Absolutely. I always say that too. Yes, go ahead.
My experience was different, but I think it would be different now that I know more about it. I just didn't know, like, I didn't know what it was. I was just like, okay, like, what is this still? I don't understand. And then Gabby was saying, I feel high because, you know, she's doing drugs. And I didn't feel high. And I was just really confused the whole time. Doing it, and I didn't quite understand what we were doing, even though you were explaining, like you did a good job of explaining it, but I still didn't have like, I'm somebody that I need to see the whole picture to understand something, or else I'm just kind of, okay, that's fine. Like, you can tell me what this is, but unless you tell me why and how and where, and
she needs details for everything.
I need to know everything, or else
Who's
it
controlling? I love you.
No, but it doesn't make sense to me if I don't understand it. It's more of like it's more of a processing thing.
That was actually one of the things that I learned about you, Nick. Like, at the end of our 2023 year in review, it's like, what's like one thing that I didn't know about you before? It's like, oh, like that's how she processes information. Like, she needs to know. And that really helps me to better understand as we work together. So I can totally understand, because like before I ever worked with Elisa on this or did any sessions, I was like, I had no idea what this was either. It's fairly new, would you say?
It's 30 years, 30-ish, 35 years. Yeah.
It's a millennial.
Yeah.
So
I want to quickly ask, Gabrielle, how have you been feeling since, like, in terms of the control piece?
Oh, this is a lifelong lesson. I will say I'm a little bit more relaxed, because last year it was all, and I think we met like in January, February. It was all internal, like cortisol, like running, got to get everything done. And now it very much feels like internally I feel embodied, in the sense like I know it's going to get done, and everything external to me is chaotic. And that feels like that's what being in flow for me is all about.
Beautiful.
So like, I feel better, but it's just like, I think it's just a matter of, and I'm not perfect by any means. Like, this is definitely something I like need to work on. And it's a test for me. And one of the lessons I need to learn as time progresses.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say, like, a last point to this, like at the end of the session, wrapping up, end of the session, there's always an action that you need to take, an action to really activate this. So it could be something small, but we always say something radical. So, and that can look like, you know, me coming on here, me going to like speak my voice and actually talk up, say, in a conversation, or something like that, something or other. But the action part is super important piece of all of this as well. And even, I think, you know, even in Lacey's work, and when she talks about that, it's always like, what are you going to take action on to? And action is the manifestation, if you wanted to look at it in that lens, how you have to activate it. It's always something you need to do to put it in motion.
I feel like the TBM work, TB magnetic work, is really expansive for anyone in this kind of space, just doing anything related to subliminals, subconscious, neural pathways. So that's really cool. Nick, did you have a question before we transition?
No, just how can people book with you if they wanted to? How can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at I am Elisa Grace. I will be putting up my sessions through that shortly. So when this comes out, it'll be up there. I'm also creating a little course, and I want to have a little beta group to trial things on. So if you are interested, well, on many things, on all my things. Yeah, but it'll be very cool. I finished off a somatic educator training last year, so I really want to teach on the somatic side, the consciousness side, and be having one-on-one sessions doing the Psych-K work too. So a little flavor of everything.
Yeah, like your 6th house Scorpio stellium, like you just doing the deep work, because Scorpios are known to be deep and transformative. It's very aligned. And your business feels very divine femme, sustainable, just very on the femme side. So that's it's really fun.
I try. Thank you. Appreciate that coming from you, business gal.
And we like to close out, and thank you for saying that. We'd like to close out with a card pull. Do you, by any chance, have a?
Hold on, where we got here? Got my Rebecca Campbell, other Aussie lady. Actually, I think she's Aussie. Maybe she's from New Zealand.
cool.
Anyway, I got my Rebecca Campbell card. I'll do a little shuffle here. I'm not a good shuffler.
What's the name of the deck,
either.
Lisa?
Work Your Light.
Oh, okay.
I was like, that looks familiar.
Yeah. You have them? Yeah, I think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Lemuria card's my, that's my girl.
All right, let's see.
Lemuria in Atlantis.
Yeah, she is beautiful. There's actually a beautiful balance in Psych-K that we do where we use like oracle decks and things like this, and we balance the message the message that you need to receive from it. So into here. All right. Oh, I got trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you?
Fitting.
To let go of control.
Let go of control.
I need to.
What is trust the niggle?
Well, we know you need to. You don't want to. It's your secondary gain, right?
What
would you be giving up?
There we go.
It's so true.
All right. That niggling feeling, that annoying niggling feeling. It's all about the niggle, ladies. You are being called to face the niggle now. If you don't face it, the universe will throw something much bigger and more obvious in your path. And then you will likely regret that you didn't answer the niggle in the first place.
Oh, no. I listen.
Yeah.
I listen.
No, you don't.
Oh, I know. I listen. If this universe gives me a sign, it's like, nope, I trust. I don't question. I just do it.
You're not me.
I don't need the sign of your sign.
Your sign to be sure.
Yeah. Bigger, louder, stronger. Thank you, Uni.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Elisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This was fun.
And you guys keep in mind, if you do book with her, that she is, how many hours is it? 18 hours ahead?
I think so. 17 or 18, right? With the time difference right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind when you book. Yeah.
You're in the future.
I'm in the future.
Yeah. What's it like?
It's still happening. It's still here.
Time's fake, guys, remember?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, guys. Well,
thank you so much.
Check her out. Check out more about Psych-K. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And any questions, if anyone has any questions, I love to talk about it. I love to, chat through, and if anything else that comes up, just holler at your gal.
All right. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.